people talk, listen, man, I'm going to raise that red flag.
This narrative, especially after 1 year, one bad year, it's one big splash move. And because I don't think people understand how much cap space we can create.
Alex, I want to ask you, because you're a very humble person.
And I'm never going to be right about anything.
Yeah.
I was right.
What's up, y'all? I'm back. This is the first time I've done one by myself in a while. I actually didn't think I was going to do one by myself anymore because it's just so much more fun to do it with somebody else. But I really, really wanted to do one about this whole, like, these things that are just so obvious, like, to me and to, like, the rest of people that I ever talk to that aren't Panther fans. And Panther fans are just, I'm not trying to put everybody in a box. I really am not. But it's so many of them that I don't know how else to, like, have these conversations anymore. Like, I really, really don't. Like, it's about this wide receiver room. And the thing is, I know they're going to address it. I really, they have to. And I don't think they're going to do it with the second round pick. I think they're going to do something else. I think they're probably going to bring in a vet. There could be a trade on the table. I don't know. But especially with the way that Tillis and Dan come from analytics focused, there's just too much data that backs this information. So, I mean, I'm not really sure how to start this because I feel like every time I have these conversations, it's immediately met with these weird narratives. So, I'm going to try to go in a very, storytelling way, I guess. So let's start with, I can't believe we're still doing this. Like, I really can't, like, we've been doing this where we get excited about rookies since, like, inception. Since, like, Ray Caruth. We've been doing this. Like, and it's even worse now because now there's all these analytics. So you can basically just, like, if you want things to be right, you can find reasons for them to be right. You can find all these, like yards per route run, you know, like a separation, like yada, 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 yada. You can find all these different things, right? But at the end of the day, the production is the production. And it's like we get away from this, like, the actual, like, yes, these other things kind of matter. They do. But that, like, usually regresses to the mean of, like, a larger sample size. But as far as the sample size for right now, you just have the production. Because also, like, now these other coaches have tape on you. So, yeah, maybe you had all this, like, cool, like, separation scores and, you know, yards per out run and yada, yada, yada. But now everybody's going to be watching all this tape on you. And for the most part, a lot of these receivers from Panther history just get worse. Probably because of that. Like, literally from, like, I'm gonna give you a ton of names. So Ray Caruth, first round pick for the Panthers. Let me start off with giving you the actual production of Excel and Coker. Sure, you gotta stop telling me, well, they weren't on the field enough. Well, why the hell weren't they on the field? Like, why weren't they? If you think that this coaching staff believes in these players so much that you think that they're gonna be the number ones, like, they're gonna be wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 on this team, people actually believe that they're going to be next year a certified wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. Then why the hell couldn't they get on the field? The production is the production for a reason. I don't care how you get to it. Yo, you know, I only had 5 points, but it's because, you know, I didn't take that many shots. Well, why didn't you take shots? Well, I just put it in the game. Why were you in the game? Well, that's it. That's what I'm saying. Like, you were in the game because you're not good enough. And you're good enough to get in the game, but you're not good enough to be the guy. So all this stuff about snap percentage and, targets and blah, 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 blah. If you're not getting targets, if you're not getting snaps, that's because the coaching staff does not believe that you are a high volume, trustable pass catcher for multiple snaps at a time, which we need. Which every team needs. And I'll get to every other team. So let's start off with what Xavier Legette and I hate that I have to, it feels like I'm bashing on them to prove my overall point. I like Xavier Legette. I'm on record I'm on record so many different times saying how much I probably like Xavier Legette more than most. Probably. I like Devonta Smith probably more than most, but you know what? They still had to go get AJ Brown. I was on Coker before the draft last year. Me and Ben from Keep Purring were literally going back and forth talking about the Coker train. I like these guys. I really, really do. And that's what I hate so much about us saying we don't need a wide receiver one because, they believe in these guys. Don't nobody in the freaking NFL, unless you're like Brock Bowers or Malik Neighbors or Ladd McConkey, don't think that you're the guy after this year. Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, those guys can be the guy. Of course. I believe in those guys being the guys. But you got to give me way more production than what you gave me last year for me to go into next year. If I'm trying to compete with me thinking that you're the wide receiver one and the wide receiver two on this team. And we'll get to Thielen later too, because Jesus Christ, maybe I just don't know what it's. I wish that people could take themselves out of this the North Carolina bubble and put them in New York where I live. I get made fun of from Jets and Giants fans about this receiving room. And they're Jets and Giants fans. I don't get made fun of them. They're not mean or anything, but they're like, you guys aren't going to get a receiver? What's... Okay. So let me move forward after that rant. So Xavier Legette, and I'm not talking about yards per route run or snap percentage or yada yada. I'm talking about just production, because that's what I care about. I care about what you do on the football field. Xavier Legette had 49 receptions for 497 yards and 4 touchdowns. So less than 500 yards, less than 50 catches, and 4 touchdowns. Jalen Coker had 32 catches, 478 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So combined, they had less than 100 catches, less than 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I'm not trying to bash for that. I'm just saying that's the production. So just think about the 4. Just think about 30, 40-ish receptions, 400-ish yards, and you split the difference, 3 touchdowns. So now I'm going to start at the inception of the Panthers, right? So Caruth was a first-round pick, and he had 44 catches, 545 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He was out of the league in 3 years. All of those numbers are better than, I guess they're pretty in line with Excel. Excel had 49 catches, 494 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Caruth had 44 catches, 545 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So just that, I know that Caruth played 3 years in the NFL. Just that. How would I be convinced that production last year means that this coaching staff, that if they go 5 wins again, they might be out. You can't go 5-12 after the money that they've spent this year. They gotta know they need help. So we know the realm that we're talking about. I'm gonna move a little faster. Kiri Colbert, he had 47 catches for 754 yards and 5 touchdowns. He was a 2nd round pick, and he did have a big career. Brandon LaFell, 38 catches, 468 yards, and 1 touchdown. Keep going. And LaFell was a 3rd round pick. David Geddes, 37 catches for 508 yards and 3 touchdowns. You probably don't even know that it is, but that's the kind of production we're talking about. Devin Funches had 31 receptions for 473 yards and 5 touchdowns. Devin Funches, who basically had like a 5-year career. Curtis Samuel, I went the year after because he had an injury his rookie year. He had 39 catches for 494 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's a fine wide receiver in the league. Like, he's wide receiver 3, I guess, most teams. Terrace Marshall Jr., I went to the second year because he had injuries first year. 28 catches for 490 yards and 1 touchdown. And then Jonathan Mingo last year had 43 catches, 418 yards, and 0 touchdowns. So it's all about the same. Like, they're all giving me the same numbers. Jonathan Mingo. We traded him away after a year and a half. TMJ, I don't think he's on a team right now. Funches had, a 5-year career? Like, LaFell ended up going to New England and being fine. Like, all these guys, like, we have all this data just for the Panthers. And we choose to be willfully ignorant on this. We choose to be willfully ignorant on this. Willfully. We willfully ignore that in the Panthers' history, we've seen this over and over and over and over and over again. And we somehow talk ourselves into that 40-ish catches and 400-ish yards and 3-ish touchdowns means that they're going to be better next year. Just automatically. Why would I just expect that? I'm not crazy, am I? I just gave you in Panthers history 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys where I've seen this before. That's like, shame on me, shame on you if you fooled me once, shame on me if you fooled me twice kind of thing. But it's like, shame on you if you fooled me once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times. Shame on me if you fooled me 9 times. Like, that's what I feel like so crazy when people like come back with like, what if they secretly in their room think that Excel is going to be the number 1. They can think it all they want. I think my bar is going to be successful. But nobody's going to give me $1 million right now just because I think that. Or they might think that. You're worth what you're worth currently. Like, you are an investment. I buy a stock as it is because what I think it can be. But it's always a risk. But I'm always going to hedge it with Apple or Amazon or these guys because I know they're not going to fail. Yeah, this might make me a ton of money. Like, this might explode, but there's a high risk that this fails. So I'm going to hedge it with Apple. And that's what all these other teams do. And that's why it's so insane that all these other, there literally is a playbook. Like, I'm going to go, let's just start this, right? This is just off the top of my head. Like, I didn't go through everything. I just kind of just jotted down guys. So year 3, I'm going to just go year 3 of each of these quarterbacks. And I'm going to tell you the production that these guys give you that year. So year 3, year 3, Justin Fields got DJ Moore. DJ Moore, his first year with Justin Fields, had 96 receptions for 1,364 yards and 8 touchdowns. All of those were better than any year that he gave to Panthers. And they went from 3 wins to 7 wins with that. So also these equate to wins. DeAndre Hopkins went to Arizona, a 5-win Arizona team. They went from 5 wins to 8 wins. DeAndre Hopkins had 115 receptions, 1,407 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill went to the Dolphins. They went from 9 wins to 9 wins. but they started 8-3, and then Tua got hurt. They started 8-3 with Tyreek Hill going over there. And Tyreek Hill had 119 receptions, 1,710 yards, and 7 touchdowns. A.J. Brown went to the Eagles, to Jalen Hurts, his third year. They were a 9-win team. They went to 14 wins and went to the Super Bowl. He had 88 receptions, 1,484 yards, and 11 touchdowns that year. Stephon Diggs went to an 11-win Bills team. They went to 13 wins. He had 127 receptions for 1,535 yards and 8 touchdowns. Brandon Cooks went to the Rams, Jared Goff's third year. They went from an 11-win team to a 13-win team, and they went to the Super Bowl that year. He had 80 receptions, 1,204 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Allen Robinson. So Allen Robinson got picked up the second year for the Bears, but he was coming off an ACL injury. So he only played maybe a little less than half the year. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the third year, when he played a full season after his ACL tear, 98 receptions, 1,147 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Colin Kaepernick, his third year. He got Anquan Bolden. They went from 11 wins to 12 wins. Anquan Bolden went for 85 receptions, 1,179 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Tony Romo. He went from 9 wins to 9 wins. He got Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens went 85 receptions, 1,180 yards, and 13 touchdowns. And then you got other guys that, I'm not going to keep going. You see what's happening, but you have guys like Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper, he got hurt the first year, in his year 3. But the following year, when he was fully healthy, he went 79 receptions, 1,189 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Now here's what I did. That's you cannot tell me that isn't a trend. All these guys in year 3 got a vet stud that they either traded for or they signed in free agency. And every single one of them performed. All of them. I was trying my best to think about, it's hard because, Jameis Winston already had Evans. Stroud, of course, already has Nico Collins. Herbert already had Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. So, sometimes you just go to good situations. But all these dudes, Mahomes already had Kelsey, and then they got a good hit with Tyreek Hill. But even the Chiefs are telling you how important the position is because they signed Rasheed. They draft Rasheed Rice high. They draft Worthy high. They draft Sky Moore high. They draft Miko Hardman high. They still bring in guys like Sammy Watkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown. They're telling you we value this position because we invest a ton of draft capital in it and we pay guys to come here. Where's Tillers from? Kansas City Tree. They know this. No matter how delusional Panther fans are, they know this. So, I took the bottom of all of these guys. I took the worst of the receptions. I took the worst of the yards and the worst of the touchdowns. So, of all these guys, it would pan out to 76 receptions, 1,116 yards, and 6 touchdowns. We haven't had a player on this team hit those marks since Greg Olsen in 2015. Basically the last time we were good. So what, it equates. The last time this happened with the worst of all these guys was when we went to the Super Bowl. I just don't understand how we're so well, we just don't see this. Why people just don't see it. Like Greg Olsen being a stud is what vaulted this to the #1 offense in the league. DJ Moore never hit all 3 of those numbers at the same time. He never hit 6 touchdowns until his final year with the Panthers. He had 7, but he only had 888 yards. And we were a 7-win team then. That was when we fired Matt Rule. We haven't had a receiver hit those numbers since Steve Smith in 2011. So here's another thing. People will always say, and I hear this, I mean, when I say people, I'm just saying what I hear quite a bit. They'll say, well, look how they built all these teams in the past. They didn't go out and get a wide receiver. That wasn't important to them. Oh, yeah? So I just gave you, in 14 years, which we've been to the playoffs in 14 years 3 times. 3. One of those years we went to the Super Bowl and we had one of those guys that hit those numbers. Before that, because everybody's like, we're a ground and pound team, play good defense, ground and pound. So in the years before that, so that's what we were inception in 1995, and then we said until 2010, I guess, because we're using after the 11 with Steve. Let's just say 11 because we're gonna include Steve Smith in this. So that's 17 years. 17 years. So in those 17 years, from 95 inception to 2011, 17 years, it happened 9 times, basically every other year. Steve Smith hit those numbers 5 times, Muhammad hit those numbers 3 times, and Rocket Ishmael hit that number 1 time. We got to go back to the history of the Panthers, that 2003 team when we were just gonna run the ball. We're gonna run the ball and play good defense. No, we've been a freaking passing team our whole inception. 9 out of 17 times, we had a receiver that hit all 3 of these categories: 76 reception, 1,016 yards, and 6 touchdowns. 9 times. And then after that, since 2011, it's happened 1 time. And that 1 time, we went to the Super Bowl. Whoa, crazy. The 1 time we had a strong pass catcher put up these numbers, we were a Super Bowl team? I don't understand why that's so it's so hard for people to understand. You need this. The whole league, the rest of the NFL is telling you this. And these are good teams. All these teams made the playoffs. 2 of them made Super Bowls. With guys like Jared Goff, who won 0 games as a rookie. Jalen Hurts, that I think the Eagles are a 4-win team his rookie year. Kaepernick went to the Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill, they went 8-3. If Tua doesn't get hurt, they had a 3rd straight quarterback in. Skylar Thompson, I think his name is. And they took the Bills to within 3 points. Stephon Diggs came over, and the Bills should have won that game. Patrick Mahomes was just Patrick Mahomes. He was great. But you're talking about them going to the Super Bowl. Calvin Ridley came, and Lawrence is winning the division. DJ Moore, if Justin Fields doesn't get hurt, I think he's the only one on this list that even had a losing season. If Justin Fields doesn't get hurt, when they were running with I don't know, the guy that beat us, like some guy, I can't remember. Bajent? Oh yeah, Bajent. They had 7 wins. With Bajent playing like 4, 5, 6 games, I don't know. And they increased their win total by 4, adding DJ Moore. DeAndre Hopkins, they go from 5 wins to 8 wins. Hey, what else they do? And they go to the playoffs the following year. Like, it happens over and over and over and over and over again. I just don't understand. What Odell Beckham Jr. gets traded in the season to the Browns. And they go to the playoffs. The freaking Browns, go to the playoffs and beat the Steelers. And they were the Browns. But they got their quarterback. And this is the Browns. They got their rookie quarterback, a true number 1. And they win 11 games, and they go to the playoffs, they beat the Steelers. Anything after that, that they just started the Browns. But I just don't understand. You have so many times that this succeeds. I haven't found a time where it fails. I haven't found one time where they go and intentionally get a receiver and it fails. So this whole notion that we're good with what we have, I really just don't understand. Or we're like, our identity is like ground and pound. It's not. Our whole identity is get 1,000-yard receivers. Our first 17 years, we had 9. Since then, 2012 to 25, it's 14 years, we've had 1. And that one time we went to the Super Bowl. So we constantly see how these guys, I'm not saying they don't ever develop, they don't ever become those guys, but usually if they have a 40-ish reception, 400-yard, and 3-ish touchdown rookie year, they're more likely than not going to fail. And we keep talking ourselves into, second year jump. They're probably banking on that. They think they have a wide receiver 1 in the room. Why? Why? What? Jalen Coker. I know we all love Coker. I like Coker. I think he makes some cool plays. I've been on Coker. He had 1 game over 78 yards. I think he had 4 over 40 yards or something like that. You take like a missed tackle and like an 80-yard game away. He's in the 300s. And I like him. I really hate that I have to say these things like I don't like him. I like these guys. I really like Excel. I have a lot of faith in Excel. More faith than I've had in any of these 40-catch, 400-yard guys. But really? 35-year-old Adam Thielen, who is injured basically his entire career. He had the 1 year with us where he played all the games. And after 7 games, he really dropped off insanely. But he made it all 17 games. And he barely broke 1,000 yards. He had, I got it written down here, 1,014 yards in 17 games. And then he got, of course, he was 34 years old. He had a soft tissue injury. He missed 7 games. He came back and played a good 7 games. And then he admitted, he literally admitted, he said, I would go home and I couldn't play with my kids because I was so tired. I was so out of it. Dude, you had a 7-game break nursing that hamstring injury. And usually when you get hamstring injuries, they usually start coming back. Will Fuller, Christian Watson, Julio Jones. You start getting them, they don't really ever stop. Coker's already dealt with soft tissue injuries. Excel has 2 injuries, apparently a foot and a hand or wrist or something like that. Your next three players are David Moore, who basically can only make a roster with the Panthers. I think he made the roster for 5 teams, and 3 of them are the Panthers. Like 3 years for the Panthers. And then like TJ Luther and Dax something and Dan Chisnia. Like that's our room. Like we don't. Like we have one of the best safeties in the league. We have one of the best corners in the league. We have, in theory, a good linebacker room because you drafted a guy in the 3rd that played pretty well, and Josie Jewell played very well, I thought, when he was on the field. Well, you need depth because, he gets hurt. That's what I'm saying. These guys get hurt. You got to have depth. And then once Wadham came in, I think he had 5.5 sacks. Connie had 5.5 sacks. You got Jones in. We're definitely going defensive end in the first pick, I believe. And then you just unload with defensive tackles or interior defensive guys. And you have one of the best defensive tackles on the market. Like, where is your elite in the offense? Like, elite. Like, getting paid like an elite. Like, Chuba's good, but he's not getting paid Saquon Barkley money. Like, we're paying J.C. Horn the biggest contract at the time. We paid Derek Brown the biggest contract at the time. Robert Hunt's getting a good contract, but got 1 Pro Bowl. Taylor Bowden's never made a Pro Bowl. Bryce was benched last year. And then we just got an undrafted free agent, a 35-year-old that is nursing a bad hamstring, and Excel that when we were doing our mocks, I was getting him in the 3rd round. Like, that's how people were seeing him. Compared to what the defense has. So at some point we got to start asking ourselves, like, wait, I had one of the highest paid defensive tackle at the time. I had the highest paid cornerback at the time. I just paid our safety $17 million. I just paid another defensive end $18 million a year. And then I got, this big body from Bobby Brown. And then Ashawn Robinson had 5.5 sacks. And Connie had 5.5 sacks. And one of them had 5.5 sacks. Like, you're getting deep. Yes, your line is good on offense. You got some depth in the line. I mean, I don't know if your line's not. The thing is, like, your line's not great. You have 1 Pro Bowler on that line. I mean, they're a top 10 unit. We got to raise our standard from that. Bryce was literally benched last year. Like, we've seen a floor. It's almost like if you want consistency, you should get him weapons. You lose somebody in the tight end room. I'm not saying it's a big thing, but you lose Ian Thomas. You don't upgrade that yet. All this is yet. You start your year with Deontay Johnson. That doesn't work out, so you get rid of him. So you bring back the same wide receiver core, except Thielen is now 1 year older. You had Rico Dowdle. That's what you. And it's gonna be harder this year because CJ Stroud, it wasn't because he started playing bad. It's because they had tape on him from his first year. They knew how to they knew how to bother him. Same thing's gonna happen with Bryce. Same thing's gonna happen in this offense with Bryce. Gotta get him some weapons. So, I mean, I'm really not trying to lecture or dismiss this room. I think that XL can be a wide receiver 1 in this league. I think that Coker can be a high-end wide receiver 2 in this league eventually. I think Adam Thielen should have retired. I think David Moore, Chisnia, Luther, and Dax, whatever, wouldn't make practice squads in some rooms. You're talking about seeing a room like the Chiefs that have Worthy, Rice, Hopkins, Brown, Juju, Hardman, Watson, Watson or whatever his name is, Sky Moore. then you look at our room. I mean, you can go down the list with some of these rooms. I don't know. I don't know. I really need somebody to sit down and explain to me why they think that the way they do. I don't know. All right, y'all. I don't know if that was either you. Here's the thing: is like I'm not changing anybody's mind. Like either that you think that wide receivers not a problem, and you just kind of dismiss everything I said, or you agree with me and you're just kind of like nodding your head the whole time. And that's a big problem. It's like I did a whole show about this. Think, be kind. Don't assume you're right. You're at your worst self when you react. You're at your worst self when you react, and you're right. Don't be right. I really want people to explain to me why they think these things. I just haven't heard it. The only well, Adam Taylor was a 1,000-yard receiver 2 years ago. What? Okay, 2 years ago. He's 35. Okay, kind of seems like when you get older, you don't get whatever. You don't get healthier either. And then you're telling me that a 400-yard receiver is going to become two of them are going to become good, like as number one, number two. When I see 8 different guys that played for the Panthers do the exact same thing, and then we're out of the league in like 5 years. I haven't seen the reverse. Like I haven't seen one of these guys get a stud and get worse in year 3. So I'm really open to hearing, like other possible reasons, but everything I've looked at, I still see it. So I hope whoever listened liked it, whatever. I got it out. I talked. Whatever. I don't know. But I appreciate you listening. Until next time. Peace.